She pushed my hand off her shoulder like it was a fly. Don't, Lauren said, staring at the fridge. I'm not in the mood. It was a weekday, 7 in the evening. The house was quiet except for the hum of the ice maker. I'd just set 2 plates of salmon on the counter and reached in for a lazy hug. That brush-off told me more than any speech. She didn't look sad or tired. She looked absent, like I was furniture. If you're not in the mood for a hug, I said, what are you in the mood for? For dinner, she clipped, reaching for a sparkling water. And not a cross-examination. I let the question hang and slid her plate across the island. She didn't touch it. She scrolled. My fork clicked. Her face was lit by the screen. Mine was lit by the stovetop. If I'd known where it was headed, I'd tell you later. I would have taken a picture of that first push. It was the last honest thing she did. We ate in a silence I didn't agree to. I tried a light lane. Friday night. How about that new steak place on Maple? Mike said reservations are hard to get. I'm swamped. Maybe, as in maybe, or maybe, as in no. She sipped. Don't pin me down right now, Dan. It's been a day. Her day lasted for the next 4 weeks. When I reached for her shoulder in bed, she flinched. When I leaned in for a goodnight kiss, she turned under the pretense of adjusting a pillow. When I asked what was going on, she called it pressure and changed the subject. The first time I pushed back, she scrunched her face, annoyed. You're reading into everything, she said, shutting the dishwasher with her hip. You're being dramatic. I'm being present, I countered. There's a difference. Can we not do this? She dried her hands on a towel like she was done with the task. You're making a problem where there isn't one. Then sit with me on the couch, I said. No big talk. 10 minutes. Phone's down. She checked the clock on the oven. I need a shower. Right. Showers that last forever are great for avoiding everything. I sat there alone, on a couch we'd picked together, staring at a TV I didn't want to turn on. I told myself it was a phase. Work. Hormones. Stress. Pick a cause. Pin it to the mood board. Hope it fixed itself. Then she started ducking away from my hand like my palm carried static. 2 weeks in, I booked a table and tried the old playbook anyway. A cheap move would have been a lecture. I chose a suit and a reservation. Clear Friday. I said on Tuesday. I got us in at Walden's. 7 sharp. She didn't look up from the laptop. I told you I have deadlines. I told you on Friday we needed time. I'm picking you up at 6:30. Wear red. Her eyebrow twitched. Don't tell me what to wear, Dan. That's not cute. I'm not trying to be cute. I'm trying to be married. Friday she took her time. When she did step out in a little black dress, point for me, her mouth was already set. In the car she stared through the windshield like the future was imprinted there and I wasn't in it. At the table, I tried salt and pepper, jokes, mundane updates, something about Mike's truck finally starting without a jump. She sighed at the wrong beats. Lauren, look at me. I'm right here. Your body is. Where's your head? Don't start. Start what? This. The talk. The pressure. I'm tired of being a project. You're my wife, not a project. That's why I'm asking before I stop asking. Her eyes flicked. Stop asking. Yeah, because if there's no interest, I'm not running a membership drive. She set her fork down. You're impossible when you get like this. When I get like what? Colder than the food while pretending you're the only adult at the table. I leaned back. I'm calm. I'm here. And I'm asking for 10 degrees of warmth from the person who promised to give it. You're patronizing me. Or, I offered. I'm done trying to hold both ends of the rope. She smirked at the wine list like it had answers. When the steak came, she made a point of complimenting the char to the waiter, as if to prove she had joy in her somewhere. She just stored it for others. We ate. We drove. She fell asleep on the couch before I'd hung up my jacket. At 2 in the morning, I covered her with a throw and stood there, looking at a woman who had once held my face like it was the best thing she'd ever found. Now I wasn't even a draw. If you're waiting for me to say I begged, you'll be waiting a while. The next morning, I changed policy. I stopped reaching. I stopped asking what time she'd be home. I cooked for one. I went to the gym before sunrise instead of kissing the top of her head. When she noticed, she tested it. You're out early, she said, pouring coffee. Yep. Okay. No good morning. You didn't want it. That's not what I said. What you said was don't. I heard you. She blinked. That was the first hairline crack in her control. I saw it and logged it. A week later, I pitched a weekend trip to Asheville. Cabins, trails, no crowds. She brushed it away with the back of her hand. I have a baby shower Saturday. Then Sunday to Monday. I can't take Monday. And why are you pushing travel? It feels forced. Because we need time without your laptop as a chaperone. She nodded at the calendar pinned on the fridge with a magnet. I'll see. Stop hovering. Not hovering. Planning, I said, already opening my laptop to cancel the cabin. I didn't argue. I just freed the weekend. I called Mike and helped him build shelving in his garage. That's where I started moving my Saturdays. On someone else's turf. Hands-on lumber. No guesswork. Mike glanced at me between drills. You good, man? You look like you're fighting someone I can't see. I'm adjusting expectations, I said, lining up a bracket. He chuckled. Translation, Lauren's doing that thing again. I drove the screws home. She's doing a new thing. I'm doing a newer thing. What's that, Cold War? Not cold. Just accurate. She says don't. I stop. She says busy. I stop. Now I'm letting the stop do the talking. Mike slid me a water. You sure you're not punishing her? I'm done with punishment economies. I'm running my time like a business. If she wants a meeting, there's a calendar. He shook his head, grinning. You're a machine. Machines don't bleed. Yeah, he said, but they break. He wasn't wrong. The break came from her side first. She started staying out with Chloe on Wednesdays, then Thursdays. Late. Every time she came home after midnight, she crept in like a cat and avoided eye contact the next morning. When I asked basic questions, she threw up smoke. How late? I asked once. I don't know. Who? A few people. Where? Out. Vague is a choice, Lauren. Suspicious is a choice too. She shot back, sliding a barrette into her hair. I'm not suspicious. I'm tired of pretending you live here. Now that's dramatic. No, I said, grabbing my keys. It's math. That night, I didn't wait up. I moved some of my clothes into the office without ceremony. I set a standing rule. My bedroom door locked at 10. If she needed something, she could text. I wasn't doing midnight monologues. She noticed the lock the next day and touched it like it had insulted her. Are we roommates now? We're adults, I replied. We behave like the room matches the behavior. She stared at me a long time. Wow. Rules are liberating, I said, sipping coffee. I sleep fine. She left early, muttering about meetings. Before work, I opened a new bank account and moved my direct deposit there. The shared account stayed funded for bills. The rest I quarantined. Not a tantrum, risk management. I put down a deposit on a storage unit near the shop. 2 spare suitcases fit just fine on the second shelf. That weekend she tried a different tactic, the first soft. I woke to the sound of bacon and eggs, something she hadn't cooked in months. She set a plate down in front of me with an apologetic smile that didn't reach her eyes. I've been off, she said, a little too carefully. I know. Work's been. I don't know. I'm sorry if I've been distant. If is doing heavy lifting there, I answered. Fine. I've been distant. I'm saying I see it. Can we reset? We can run a test, I said. She breathed out, relieved. Okay. Dinner tonight? My treat. Sure. No phones. Deal. We ate ribs at a low-key place. Laughed at a couple at the next table arguing about whose turn it was to walk their dog. She touched my arm twice, light touches, like someone trying to remember choreography. When we got home, she kissed me, then froze. I'm sorry, she said, stepping back. I'm trying. It's like my brain goes blank. I studied her. It was good theater. It just wasn't real. I kept my voice even. Keep trying. But I'm not going to pull you across a line you don't want to be on. You come to me when you mean it. Until then, I'm going to the gym at 6 and the job at 8. Calendar's on the fridge. Dan, I'm trying to be vulnerable. Then be clear, I cut in. Clarity is vulnerability. She blinked again. You've gotten colder. I've gotten specific. She didn't like that answer, but she swallowed it. 2 days later, back to late nights. Because the breakfast wasn't a change, it was a pause button. The second soft came bigger. She showed up at my work, which she never does, in a sundress, holding a bag of burgers and fries, and waved at me behind the glass. My guys at the shop looked at me like the circus had come to town. Dang, Dan, said Arturo. Date delivery. I stepped outside. She leaned on the hood of my truck and took my hand. Public. Wide smile. Surprise lunch. And I was thinking, weekend by the lake? Airbnb, just us. Sounds nice, I said. You free? I'll make it work. Will you? I asked. Or will you say yes now and busy later? She tilted her head, smiled tight. I'm making an effort. Effort happening in front of an audience is performance, I said. Take the show home. Her jaw moved like she had a new line, but she swallowed that too. We ate. She told me about Chloe's dog. She asked about Mike's shells like she cared. When she left, Arturo raised an eyebrow. You buying it? Buying lunch, I said. The rest is on layaway. That afternoon, I made the call I'd been avoiding. I'm not a man who hires people to dig in his backyard, but it was time to know which way was north. Name's Fletcher, the guy said. Straight voice, no sales pitch. You want a yes/no, or you want the movie? I want the truth, I said. And I want to make a decision without guessing. I work silent, he replied. 2 weeks. Do it. While he worked, I moved like the plan was already made. Not dramatic moves, logistical ones. I scheduled the car for service. I paid off a small credit card and closed it. I cut back every shared subscription I didn't care about. I stopped announcing dinners and trips. I started announcing nothing. When she told me she had to help her mom on a Sunday, I texted Carol. Everything okay? I wrote. All good, she replied. We're not seeing Lauren this week. I looked at that text for a long minute. Then I locked my phone. I want to be clear here. I didn't spiral. I didn't go to the bar. I went for a run and then replaced a leaking pee trap under the sink. I made my world tight. At home, she kept staging small tests. A joke at my expense when neighbors were around. You know Dan, she told Jenna over the hedge. He loves control. He probably color codes his socks. I smiled. I do. It saves time. Jenna laughed. Lauren waited for me to bristle. I didn't. I just finished trimming the lawn and told Jenna to have a good one. That non-reaction annoyed Lauren more than any comeback. That night, Lauren had to work late again. No check-in. No ETA. I poured one bourbon, fixed the hinge on the laundry door, and slept like a man without a roommate. 2 weeks and change after hiring Fletcher, I got an email. Then a text. You'll get the full packet by noon, he wrote. Executive summary in your inbox now. I stood at the workbench in the shop bathroom, where I ducked to check the phone because I wanted privacy. The summary was 3 pages. Times, places, names. Photos. A man named Alex. A coffee shop near the park. A hotel with a potted plant in the lobby I recognized because we'd walked past it on our anniversary last year. The timeline went back 6 weeks. It stopped the day she showed up with burgers. I don't throw things. I don't shout. I looked at the pictures like evidence at a job site. Problem, cause, fix. Then I closed my inbox. Out on the floor, Mike eyeballed me. You look like you swallowed a nail. I found the map, I said. He didn't ask more. That's why he's my friend. That night, I drove home early. The house was quiet. Her car wasn't in the driveway. I set my keys down, put coffee in the grinder for morning, and packed 2 suitcases with her things. Nothing sentimental. Clothes, shoes, toiletries. Neat, folded. I placed the suitcases by the door and wrote my mother-in-law, because Carol is a straight arrow and deserved facts, not a rumor run. Is Lauren with you tonight? I typed. No, she wrote. I haven't seen her in weeks. What? I looked at the screen, then typed what I should have typed a month earlier. She told me she's with you. I have documentation she isn't. A pause. Then, are you sure, Daniel? This is serious. Very, I answered. I'll send what I have. I forwarded the packet as it hit my inbox. Not a highlight reel, the full thing. Timestamps. Faces. Names. 10 minutes passed. 20. 30. The dots appeared and disappeared. Then a final text. I'll be there at 8 in the morning, Carol wrote. I want to look her in the eye before we live with whatever this is. Okay, I answered. Doors open. At 9:30, I texted Lauren. Where are you? We need to talk. She answered at 10:40. Overnight at Mom's. She needs help cooking. Got it, I wrote. I didn't send the next line. I didn't threaten. I didn't bluff. I set the coffee maker for 7:30, laid 2 mugs on the counter, and went to bed in an empty room for the last time as her husband. Carol arrived at 7:55, a jacket over a plain sweater, hair pulled back like she was going to a job nobody wants. She didn't cry. She hugged me, brief, then sat at the kitchen table. I poured, we drank, and we waited. Talking would have been noise. At 8:02, the door opened. Lauren came in with a smile that died in transit. She stopped when she saw her mother, then me, then the suitcases. The room went still. She didn't reach for her phone. She didn't sit. She just froze, eyes darting like she was searching for a script. Carol spoke first, voice low. How could you do this to him? What was missing that you didn't say? Lauren's eyes wet instantly. Mom, this is not. Carol didn't raise her voice. She sharpened it. Don't. Your husband sent me times and places. Don't insult both of us. Lauren turned to me, trying on a softer tone. Dan, please. Whatever you think. I think. I cut in. You told me you were here when you were somewhere else, and the somewhere else has a name. She swallowed. You shouldn't have. Found out. I offered. Checked. Asked your mom. Hard facts. You used her as cover, Lauren. Carol closed her eyes like the room stung. When she opened them, they were clear. You will not mention my house as your alibi again, she said. Pick up your suitcases. Lauren's face shifted, shocked that her mother didn't climb into the trench with her. She tried one more line. I was confused. I'm trying to fix. You're not confused, I said. You're comfortable. That's different. She reached for my arm. I stepped back. She looked like she hadn't planned for that, like she didn't consider I'd have my own legs. I'm sorry, she started. No. Carol cut in, sharper now. You don't get to say that here. You used my name to lie to your husband. You take your things and go. Lauren's mouth opened, closed. She stared at the suitcases like they were props in a play gone wrong. I moved them closer, not roughly, just ending the debate. She took the handles. She looked small in the doorway, but that's what consequences do. They resize people. At the threshold, she turned back, tears streaked, but voice still looking for purchase. Dan, can we talk tonight? Please. Just talk. We're done talking, I said quietly. Here's the only sentence left. I won't share a house with someone who treats me like a spare. You chose. I'm choosing back. Take care of yourself. She walked out with her mother behind her. Carol looked at me in the driveway, nodded once, and got in her car. No extra words. The door shut. Silence, finally useful. I didn't pace. I opened the windows. I took a shower. Then I sat at the table and wrote what needed writing. 3 days later, a notary watched my pen move across a stack of papers. Weeks after that, I signed another stack and put a FedEx label on the envelope. I didn't go for half of anything. I didn't itemize my pain. I didn't negotiate over forks. I kept my house, my truck, my shop schedule, my peace. People like to ask about the aftermath, like there's fireworks. The reality is cleaner and meaner. She didn't try to take my stuff. She didn't ask for a payout. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe it was strategy. I didn't care. I only cared that for the first time in months, I woke up and the person in my bed didn't flinch at my hand. Now back it up. Let me fill in the scenes I didn't telegraph, the ones that pushed the boulder downhill. After the kitchen showdown, Lauren tried another pass. 2 days later, my phone buzzed with her name. Can we meet? She wrote. I need to say something. No drama. I agreed to a coffee shop near work, public, daylight, 10 minutes. When I walked in, she was already at a table, hands around a paper cup like it was a prop. Thanks for coming, she said. You've got 9 minutes, I answered. She exhaled. Everything got away from me. I kept thinking I'd fix it before it mattered. Then it mattered. I don't know what I was doing. You knew, I said. You just didn't think I'd find out. That's not fair. It's exact, I corrected. And here's where I'm at. I don't do half-truths. I don't do divided loyalties. You had options, and you took the one that made me a placeholder. Her mouth tightened. She leaned forward, playing a soft note. I want to come home. No, I said. Just like that. Just like that. I can't unknow it. You're being final, she said, like final is a flaw. It's the only way this stops bleeding. This doesn't have to end ugly. It won't, I said. It'll end clean. Dan. I stood. Time's up. She sank back, shocked that I'd actually used the clock I set. That's the thing about boundaries. They only work if you honor them when it's inconvenient. At work that afternoon, I told Mike I'd be off the radar for 2 weeks. I took overtime. I stayed late doing inventory. I kept my nights full. Control is routine plus distance. Lauren texted again, longer messages. I'll see someone, she wrote. We can go together. Then, dinner this weekend? I'll bring dessert. Then, a day later, a line that made me shake my head. I told Alex it's over. Not a confession, an attempt at a solution. She wanted credit for turning off a faucet she'd opened in my house. I didn't reply. It wasn't my job to grade her decisions anymore. Around that time, Jenna caught me by the mailbox. "Hey, you okay?" she said. "I saw Carol's car that morning." "I'm fine," I said. "House is quieter." She hesitated. "I shouldn't say this, but I didn't like how she talked over you at the block party. Like you were a punchline." "I noticed," I said. "You didn't react," she added, like it was a compliment and a question. "I saved it for the right scene." She laughed. "You're colder than you look." "I prefer accurate." My accuracy extended to logistics. I unmerged our phone plan. I changed the lock code. I rolled back the living room to what it looked like before it became a battleground. Simple, neutral, mine. I told our closest friends myself, one by one. In a backyard, at a bar, outside church. No gossip, no color commentary. "Lauren and I are done," I told them. "It's final. Don't pick sides. Don't feed me stories." Most people nodded like they respected the efficiency. One buddy, Scott, tried to play philosopher. "Marriage is hard, man. People make mistakes. You sure you're not being too?" I cut him off. "I know what I know. I won't live in a house where I don't exist when the door closes." End of discussion. Scott put both hands up. "Okay, got it. I can come to softball Saturdays again now," I added, changing the subject cleanly. "Need a first baseman?" He grinned. "Always." That's when my life actually expanded. Not after fireworks or some cinematic moment. After I threw away an old practice of trying to drag respect out of a locked room. But you want the messy bits. Fine. 2 weeks after the kitchen, Lauren tried a grand gesture. She left a basket on the porch, photos of us, a scarf of mine she used to wear, a note with 12 paragraphs that said a lot of adjectives and very few nouns. It ended with, "I'm still your person." I texted a single line. "No, you gave that title away." She didn't respond. That silence was the first honest thing she'd given me since the fridge. A month later, Carol called me. "I consider her family, I still do." "Just letting you know," she said. She moved into a small apartment near the old downtown. "She's not asking me for help." "I'm disappointed." "You raised her better," I said. "I thought so," she answered. "I want you to be okay." "I am," I said. "And I appreciate you more than you know." She sniffed, then coughed like she'd swallowed it. "Good. You're a decent man. You handled it clean." That "clean" word stayed with me. It was the opposite of everything that had led up to the kitchen scene. Clean beats dramatic. Clean lasts. You should know what my life looks like now. I'm not selling you a fantasy. I still do the groceries on Sundays. I still fold my own laundry. I still wake at 6 without an alarm. The shop is busy. I took on a county contract and added 2 guys to the team. Mike and I rebuilt his deck and then mine. I bought a used boat with a small motor. It's ugly and perfect. On Saturdays, if I'm not playing softball, I'm on the water practicing bad casting and enjoying how nobody needs anything from me out there. There's someone new, yes. Her name's Tessa. She's a nurse. We met at a cookout Mike roped me into when I didn't feel like being social. She asked me about a tiny scar on my wrist like she actually wanted to know, not like she needed to fill silence. We've been slow by design. We cook. We walk. We don't police each other's calendars. When she laughs, it's not for an audience. When I reach for her hand, she meets me halfway. Nothing theatrical. If that sounds boring, you didn't live my last year. I kept the house. I repainted the kitchen, not because I needed a new color, but because I wanted no ghost scenes. The table is still the same table, but it feels like mine again. The office is no longer a bunker for suitcases. It's a room where I keep fishing lures and bills. I heard, through the grapevine I didn't ask for, that Lauren moved once already. Smaller place. She switched jobs. People say she looks tired. I wish her health and distance. That's not kindness. That's survival. I don't drink from old wells. The last time I saw her was incidental. I was walking out of the bank. She was walking in. She looked startled, then tried to smile. She opened her mouth like she might start a "How are you" scene. I saved us both the act. "Take care, Lauren," I said. "That's all I've got." She nodded, like she'd expected a different line. Maybe she wanted a fight. Maybe she wanted a memory. I gave her neither. I got in my truck and drove to the shop. There's always something to fix there that actually stays fixed when you're done. If you're still waiting for the heroic moment, it's this. My final sentence in our old life was not a shout or a sermon. It was the door locking behind me and a life that got heavier in all the right places. Respect is a habit. So is accepting less. I broke one. I kept the other. You can say I'm hard. I'd say I'm clear. I ended a situation that treated me like a standby mode and put my energy where the returns are honest. Work, friends, a woman who looks me in the eye without weather reports. When I wake up now and reach across the bed, I don't get a flinch. I get a hand. And there's no hum of the old fridge filling the room, pretending to be conversation. In case you want the last line, the one I said to myself that morning with Carol in my kitchen, while the coffee maker clicked and the house held its breath. This is not a house where I beg for the basics. It's a house where I pour coffee for people who tell the truth. And once I said it, I kept it.